Hi, Dave. Welcome back to the Mate Night Podcast.
Hi, Dave.
We're ranking every film ever made. This is episode 6, Superbad. Should you watch it? Fred, tell us a little about this movie.
Thank you, Jambo. It would be my absolute pleasure. Today's film is the greatest comedy of all time, according to my mate Jake from work. This week, we watched a generation-defining coming-of-age comedy created by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. Superbad was first drafted by the pair when they were naught but adolescent miscreants causing a ruckus in 90s Vancouver, Canada. By 2007, it was one of its era's comedic juggernauts, establishing the careers of many of Hollywood's finest young comic actors, such as Michael Cera, Jonah Hill, Christopher Mintz-Paz, I don't know how you pronounce that, and future double Oscar winner Emma, please call me Emily, Stone. Does it hold up? Was it any good in the first place? Is the title any good? Do I wear women's underwear? All this and less will be determined once and for all on this episode of Mate Night.
Mate, you wrote that in 20 minutes?
Yeah, it was fun.
That was amazing. That was so good. That's what we're looking for. I love the way you kept me waiting. Juggernaut as well. What a
lovely
word. What a word.
Oh, thanks, man. That was fun.
Today we're going to rate this film in 9 categories. Then we're going to take the average. The first 2 categories, how much Fred enjoyed it and how much Jambo enjoyed it. So, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Superbad, a millennial classic. Rated out of 10 by the Mate Night Podcast. 3, 2, 1, go. 7.5.
8.2.
Okay. I thought you were going to like it.
I do like it.
Yeah.
I got to say, I do like it. I was not in 2 minds, but I was on a real spectrum of how much do I enjoy this.
8 is very high.
Yeah, you know what? Do you find that comedies as well? How do you feel as our first out and out comedy? So for new listeners, we have done no real out and out comedies other than this one. Princess Bride is about as close as we got, and it's more of a romp as we'd call it. How did you find? Did you find any differences trying to think of a score for a comedy compared to what we've watched so far?
Yeah, there were. I feel pretty clear about certain categories of comedy. So, for example, rom-coms, I hate. I cannot stand them, and so I feel like comedies have perhaps some more defined sort of areas that I feel quite strongly about. You know, one of the things that I will make quite clear throughout this is I cannot stand high school trying to get laid, coming of age comedies. I hate them. They're like my least favorite. Second only maybe to rom-coms. My least favorite sort.
It's interesting. You kept
comedies.
That well. You kept that under wraps because when we were deciding, we were like, "What should we watch this week?" And I was thinking, "Let's do a comedy." Because you sent me a suggested list, and it was a lot of 2 to 3 hour kind of epic classic cinema, which we've done quite a lot of already. And I'd actually watched all, I think, of them.
All but one, wasn't it?
Maybe
but it was like a 3 hour one.
Seven Samurai, which I think is, I don't think I could have whacked out last night or Monday night, So I was thinking, let's take this opportunity to watch a comedy and suggested Superbad. Which other ones did I say? Team America.
Yeah.
And maybe another. But you didn't.
I didn't say that I don't can't stand these movies.
All right. What about these films don't you like?
I find that the one of the things that I hate most in a plot is when it can be avoided with a single conversation, right? And these almost always have that, almost always. Also, I feel like they are almost always just very much the same thing, right? And it kind of it can get a little tiresome.
Okay.
And when it's almost always the same thing, and that same thing also has probably the one most defined thing that I don't like in movies, which is when a plot can be avoided with a single conversation.
Okay.
And I don't like cringiness, which is another thing that almost always, it's a genre which carries a lot of the things which I don't like in any movie. And so that's kind of just why I just never find them very enjoyable to watch.
So what did you say?
7.5.
So what did this do right then?
Do you know what, mate? We might as well have just read my review at this point. But the thing is, the casting cannot be faulted, right? So this is early enough in their careers where Michael Cera and Jonah Hill and
Yeah.
Christopher Mintz-Platz, I think, Platz or something he's called, they were like, these are the roles for them. They were born for them.
Yeah.
Now, at first, I feel a guttural reaction of like, I've seen these guys do these roles 1,000 times, right? But it's early enough in their career that then I'm like, well, they nailed casting these guys. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is the perfect role for them. And it's not like they've done 50 of these movies before at this point. This is very, very early on. And then the other thing as well is these guys managed to, on the whole, have enough plot that it didn't just, it couldn't just be avoided with a single conversation.
Yeah.
A lot of the movies in these categories, like the whole thing could just be avoided.
Right.
Whereas with this, there was a lot of very, very good plot. And so I was like, yes, Michael Cera's character and Jonah Hill's character could have just had a conversation about when they go to college, and then that whole conflict would have just not happened. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's kind of a bit annoying to me.
I get you there.
It's not that important, really.
I think that's more a microcosm of the coming of age. You probably being someone who doesn't like coming of age stories, but I quite like them, and I find that the what they're going for, the warm fuzzy feeling of growing up and distancing yourself from friends without necessarily wanting to, things like that. I think whatever way they try and do it, however they shoehorn it with, in this case, a situation which could have been explained quite easily by, one short conversation, I still don't hold that against it, because I feel like the idea behind the films like that is look, yes, it's an arbitrary conversation, but because of the direction that these two are going in their lives and the turning point, the fork in the road for them both, for people who are best mates, they are, there are going to be arbitrary conversations that they miss out on anyway, because there's going to be some cause for conflict and it will feel like it's silly. And the whole point is they come to the realization that it is silly at the end. Yeah.
No, you're not wrong. But in this case, they get away with it for me because they did such a good job of everything else.
Casting.
But the thing is, like, it is arbitrary, and yet the whole idea is the characters don't understand that yet. And the growth is that they come to understand that they should have just been honest with each other. But for me, that's a conflict which is a bit of a cop-out for a plot. It's very easy to do. And it just makes for a rubbish story. Because I just spend the whole time like, just talk to him. Like, literally just talk to him. It drives me insane when they do it.
Yeah, fair
I hate that behavior generally anyway.
I feel like for films like this, I'm not watching it for the plot. I'm seeing, a generic, case or a generic shell of a film, and then it's how they bring out the character in the casting, the music, the dialogue, and all of that. It's just hits out of the park.
But you asked why I didn't like this particular category, and it's like because that whole category has that issue.
I've asked it to you before, actually. I think we had a conversation a while back about a certain genres capped for you.
Yeah.
Do you feel like horror, for instance, could only ever get max the best horror you ever saw?
It's a great question.
Just because it's in a genre that.
Do I think that a rom-com, which I would probably argue is my least favorite, could a rom-com get a 10 out of 10? You know what? When I put it that straightforward, I think it could. Yeah, right. I do. And Superbad is a good example of this, where they did a great job of adding so much quality and depth around these kind of things that I have an issue with, that for me, I was able to just forgive them for it. Like 7.5 is a good rating. I thought it was a good film. I watched it when I was younger, and I remember it being a lot funnier than I thought it was this time.
Yeah, that's funny, that.
I was expecting to kind of be belly laughing. Maybe it's one of those expectations.
Well, first time I watched Superbad, I remember not thinking that much of it.
Okay.
I don't remember when it was, but it must have been fairly near when it came out.
Yeah.
Because I think it came out and I saw the trailer for it, and it's so quippy, but originally, like it was original. I remember when it came out being like, wow, this is kind of different. And it might be that kind of Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg, and I can't remember the director who works on a lot of those films as well. But that sort of style was
Is it like Judd or something?
Judd Apatow. Yeah.
There you go.
So that was, I don't know, did he direct this? I don't think he did.
That's the full extent. I just heard the word.
Not
Judd.
sure who directed this, but that sort of sphere of those actors, like your Jason Segel, Thingy came on a bit later, didn't he? Who cares? It doesn't matter. But I remember it being quite new, watching the trailer for it and being like, wow, that's different. And thinking this looks amazing. And watching it, whether it was that year or a couple of years later, being a bit unimpressed. And it's just grown on me through the years.
Okay.
Like, I think I've seen clips and just appreciated it more and more.
Yeah.
And now it's just it definitely holds a bit of fondness in my heart, which is why it was tough for me to rank. Because I was like, okay, gut reaction.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I feel because
There's clearly an element of nostalgia for you in a few different dimensions, because it's a kind of nostalgia of the generic sort of coming of age thing, and then there's the nostalgia of just having known this film. And
I feel like I'm a sucker for nostalgia as well, whereas you're much more kind of not don't understand it, but more
it doesn't have
it doesn't impact you as much, whereas I'm much more of a
So what was the main part of Superbad that made it go to a high score for you? What were the things that stood out more than anything to you?
I think it starts and ends really with the cast. I don't know how much research you did into this. Did you get much time?
Tons, mate. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
It's about an hour.
That's some great sarcasm. So I think Michael Cera is phenomenal. Like, I know he's typecast and he can only really do one thing, but he is unbelievable.
Born for that, yeah.
Unbelievable at playing. I was watching interviews actually around this. So Seth Rogen did one of those like Vanity Fair or GQ interviews where he goes through his famous roles. Yeah. And Superbad was one of the first ones he spoke about. He was talking about the cast and saying, man, we managed to nail it on that one. And as you know, I'm a big fan of Arrested Development as well, which Cera was in when he was even younger.
That was before.
And in that, I remember he is potentially more than any other child actor. He impresses me.
Ooh.
Like, I think he is, even as a kid, he was phenomenal. Yeah. And you hear stories about how he's like impossible to make break. So they'll do comedy films. And he's so good at staying in role.
Right.
And just something about that. And Rogan said something really interesting. Seth Rogen. Joe Rogan was commenting on this. And he said, have you ever tried DMT? He said that, Seth Rogen said that the part that Michael Cera played was originally like a straight man's role. So you had Jonah Hill's character was kind of the comedic value and Michael Cera is the straight man. But they were just kind of amazed with how he'd deliver the lines and make the straight man role funny.
Yeah.
For me, I find his role funnier than Jonah Hill's, at least. Just because I think his delivery is so brilliant.
Yeah, like, he's the best in the world at what he does.
Yeah, and
without a doubt.
You couldn't see him playing like a serious romantic lead or an action hero or anything like that. He has to kind of be in that role. But when you talk about like the Bruce Lee, I fear a man who's not practiced 10,000 kicks, but one kick 10,000 times. Cera is like the awkward teen of 10,000 kicks. It better. Oh, didn't drop the water there. Unbelievable. Yeah, absolutely unbelievable. And yeah, I think that Jonah Hill is amazing, really well cast in it as well. You may know that he was in Knocked Up or 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah, 40-Year-Old Virgin was definitely before it.
And I think it was in both, actually. He was in 40-Year-Old Virgin, and then they really liked him, and so they brought him into Knocked Up. Yeah. And then in Knocked Up, he was like, I got to be in Superbad. I'm perfect for it. And they're like, no, you're way too old. You can't be in it. And he's like, no, seriously, guys, let me read for it. I'm so perfect. They're like, you're like 40, you know. Yeah. He was old at that point, and he was in his mid-20s. Loads of facial hair. And he had to like shave twice a day apparently to on set. And so he read for it in like a trailer on the set of Knocked Up, which he was starring in as an older person. And they were like, mate, he was so brilliant. Like, they were like, we actually do have to make him this role and work around it. So yeah, it just seemed like every star aligned. Like, and you can tell based on how the people have done. Like after that, I mentioned it in the little intro, but like Emma Stone's won 2 Oscars.
Yeah. The 3 of them were born for this. This was her debut film as well.
Yeah, I was trying to remember if it was this or Easy A, but it was this, and then she did Easy A. Have you watched that?
No.
No, me neither, but I think they're kind of similar time and became a bit of a star.
Well, I had a question which segues quite nicely on from what you were just talking about. I had to pick the star for this, for the Cinephiles.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought it would be interesting to see what you thought about who the star...
So for anyone who doesn't know, the Cinephiles is where we rank and we put our scores in and then we compare them against all the other films that we've done. So we'll go on to the other scores in a bit of time. But also part of it is the categories of just film information, and that is film name, director, 1 star. So we've only ever had 1 star, as in, not 1 out of 5 stars, as in 1 actor in the film.
Starring, and then it's just 1 name.
And sometimes this does cause a bit of interest for us, doesn't it? Like Heat, for instance.
Who did we go with? Heat?
Did we go
Robert De Niro.
Yeah, but we said Pacino, and then you were like, De Niro.
Pacino wasn't very good.
Yeah. Hot take. Al Pacino is dog shit.
I saw a great video on that once. Anyway, so what do you think? Who... Out of Jonah Hill, Michael Cera, and Christopher, who was the star of Superbad?
I would say Jonah Hill.
Yeah, I can get on board with that.
He's the biggest part of it, isn't he? He's the biggest kind of force in it.
Yeah. I feel like the plot... No, it's very difficult.
It more revolves around... Yeah, I mean, it's ensemble, but it probably slightly more revolves around his story. He's the one who... is kind of in this. I mean, the film starts with him driving. He's the one who's not going to the college, so I think his arc takes a bit more. I
think Jonah Hill is the star of Superbad, although not by much.
No.
Now, who performance-wise, who would you rank 1, 2, and 3 out of those? Sorry.
I mean, both Sarah. I mean, they're but all 3 are incredible.
Yeah.
But Sarah and Christopher Mintz-Plasse.
Yep.
I would say that's a toss-up. They're so good.
The question was, who ranked the performances of the 3? Who did the best job of the performances? I feel like after what you said about Michael Cera, you couldn't say anyone else because he plays that specific role so unbelievably well.
Well, here's a little counter for that. In a different interview, I believe it was a Hot Ones interview with Michael Cera, he gets asked. You watch the Hot Ones interviews?
Yeah.
The guy doing this really...
Shout out to the Hot Ones.
Sean Evans. I know his name. Sean Evans.
Sean Evans.
Yeah.
Nice.
That'd be funny if that's wrong. If it's like Brian Johnson or something. His name's Sean Evans. And I have made that up. No, I'm pretty sure it's Sean Evans.
It's a Sean.
Yeah. He looks like a Sean if he's not. And so he's known for his... He
looks like a Sean.
It's classic Sean behaviour, isn't it? He's known for his Shawnee appearance. He's known for his penetrating interview questions, and very good.
No, he is. Sean Evans, the interviewer in Hot Ones.
He's not called Sean Evans. Will be brilliant. He is. I'm sure of it.
Sean Evans of Hot Ones is known for having some of the best
penetrating questions. Penetrates with his questions.
Okay.
So
there goes a minute of our podcast.
Sean Evans penetrates Michael Cera with a question. And the question is, I don't even think it's a question. It's like, is it true that Jonah Hill was really annoyed the first time Christopher Mintz-Plasse was reading with them, Have you heard that? Was auditioning with them.
Come across this, yeah.
And so basically, Sarah's like, he was like Christopher. Jonah's amazing, and he usually absolutely kind of owns a room when he's doing one of these reads. But Christopher was just completely throwing him off by how his delivery was so unique and also great, and everyone was laughing at Christopher Mintz-Bass. Apparently.
Brilliant. I'd
Apparently
love to be in that room.
Well, have you seen? There's footage of it. There's footage of the. Yeah, I don't know if it's the original, but it looks like the audition tapes because some of them are on book. And
No.
yeah, and it's
We'll have to
amazing.
find that
Like it's the scene, the McLovin scene.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So he first goes, "I am McLovin." He comes in and shows him the fake ID.
Yeah.
They're like, "One name? What are you, Seal?"
Yeah.
So yeah, he does that, and literally you can see the anger that Jonah then brought to the role. Apparently, they were like, apparently at the end of it, Jonah was almost like cast at that point, and Christopher walked in, blew everyone away, and like Jonah was getting visibly angry about it and like really throwing barbs at him. And Michael Cera says, and Christopher's just like such an admirable guy about stuff like that. He was a 17-year-old or 16-year-old when he was cast. He was a kid. He was like, he's just like shaking. Does not care what people think or what people say about him, apparently, at all.
Yeah.
And so like Jonah's getting more and more annoyed about it, and apparently that's what's making it all funnier, the whole scenario. And apparently Christopher goes, and Jonah says, "Not him."
And then the producers were like, him.
100%. So yeah, that kind of, when you talk about people who were just born to play a role or just inhabited a role so well.
And very quickly before the end of this segment, I mean, we talk about the casting quality of that film, and Michael Cera and Jonah Hill had already had some performances, and so the casting department could have looked at them and said, you know, these guys are clearly right for this role. That makes sense. But that was obviously Christopher Mintz-Bass's debut performance as well. He'd never done anything like this.
Yeah.
So the fact that they managed to pick him for that role, like imagine if you took him out of the film and put him with just literally anyone else, Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
We're going to name drop Timothée Chalamet. Timothée Chalamet in Superbad.
But you know what I mean? Like it's an iconic movie, but if you took just Christopher Mintz-Bass out of it, he is integral to how iconic that movie is.
Oh, for sure. I would argue that he is the most iconic element of it. The whole McLovin. Totally. If you told, I'm going to get this question right in a sec. If you asked someone who hadn't watched Superbad, tell me something you know about Superbad, they'll be like, McLovin.
Yeah, 100%.
It's the most defining characteristic of that film if you haven't watched it, I'd say.
Yeah, the most memorable. Anyway, I reckon we're probably running out of time a little bit there, so we're going to move on to the next session. Just a quick question before we move on. Do people only like it because it's old, Fred?
Do people only like... So this was introduced as a concept introduced by Jamie last episode for Full Metal Jacket. Jambo, last episode for Full Metal Jacket. Don't know who Jamie is. And the idea is, if you take the movie and show it now, first time, will people still like it?
Or do people just like it because
it's just
like, oh, well, it's an old film, it's great.
Full Metal Jacket probably would hold up.
A great film, a really great film.
Citizen Kane,
no.
Absolutely not. But
rubbish. It's categorically a boring movie that sucks.
Empire Strikes Back.
Another bad one. But I don't think that people just like that because it's old. I think people just like it because they like bad movies sometimes. Yeah. That's just the way it works.
But this one, I mean... Yeah.
I think this is another one that people like because it's good.
Sure. It's also not that old.
Yeah, what is it? About 17 years ago, is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Good maths.
I jumped to 17. I was like 2017. That's so long.
It's almost an adult, this film.
Wow. Okay. Well, that comes to the end of that segment. So we're going to move on to our actual segment section.
Mm-hmm.
We have 3 things we thought would be interesting today. Superbad, best quotes ranked. 10 things you didn't know about Superbad, true, false, and what Superbad did better than anyone else. So for segment 1, Fred has bought a collection of quotes. We're going to rank them. Let's go.
I was going to surprise you with a new segment. Why don't I surprise Jamie with a special segment?
Why don't you give us a brilliant tagline introduction for it?
Welcome to Which of the Superbad Cops' crimes were the worst?
I like that.
Jambo, I have selected 5 crimes that were committed by the cops in Superbad, and I want you to attempt to blind rank them based on the severity of the punishment. So I'm going to give you 5 crimes committed by officers Slater and Michaels. You are going to try to accurately rank them by punishment without knowing which ones will come next. The punishment are based on Nevada state law.
Okay. That is cool.
Obviously, you also can't change a ranking once it is locked in.
Okay.
I want to give credit to the Sky Sports YouTube channel, who I stole this idea from. Unfortunately, I do not know who they stole it from originally. So, what I wanted to ask, though, is any questions on how this will work?
No, I'm ready to get it wrong, mate.
Yeah. I want to also preface, I kind of did some prep and then I ran out of time. So, it's going to be...
Like all great art,
we're going to be working it out together.
Sucks.
Okay. So, as mentioned, 5 crimes for you that the Superbad cops committed, and when I say one, you're going to have to go, that is the third most serious.
I understand.
But you know that there are others coming, so you have to kind of
think hard about it.
Game here. Yeah. So, let's start off with furnishing alcohol to a known minor. So, this is knowingly selling or giving alcohol. I also put into this cigarettes to a known minor.
4th worst. So this like the second weakest, so to speak.
Right. So he's gone with 4th for that. I reckon I run through
4th strongest crime. 4th biggest punishment.
4th biggest punishment. Right.
I think that's the 4th biggest punishment.
Okay. Cool. Discharging a firearm in public.
For the police officers.
I should preface this. I tried to find how bad this would be for police officers. Because, I mean, discharging a firearm in public without any need
without needing to.
Yeah.
Right.
So, effectively, I'll say...
playing with guns.
Willfully and maliciously firing a gun at or into a vehicle, structure, aircraft, or watercraft.
3rd.
Okay. Grand Theft Auto.
2nd.
Okay.
God, I'm about to find out how bad I cocked up.
Running a red light.
5th.
And finally, witness tampering, pervading the course of justice, evidence destruction, manipulation of procedures, and failure to follow policy.
Damn it. 3rd isn't available anymore. I'm going to put that in a solid 1st place.
Okay. So, did we get all 5 there?
We did do all 5. So I think I went 3 to begin with. Should we summarize so rattle them off, I'll give them back. Right, go.
Okay, this is why I didn't order it, I just randomly made up. But the first one, we said furnishing alcohol to a known minor.
3rd.
I'm pretty sure you said 4th.
I said 4th.
Yes. The second one, discharging a firearm in public.
Which I said 3rd.
3rd. The 3rd, this is hard because I've got the numbers that they are.
Yeah.
Third one, Grand Theft Auto.
2nd.
Yeah.
Running a red light 5th, and then witness tampering 1st.
Okay, perfect. So, I did this, and the concept in my head was, this is a good idea. Quite a lot of them have the same penalty, so I've had to be a bit more...
So you had to put your own spin on it.
My own spin.
How do they have the same penalty? Surely they justify different.
So it comes under like felony misdemeanor.
Okay.
Which has like a range.
I'm feeling pretty good about it. I'm feeling pretty
well, I will say that you have done all right.
Okay.
So furnishing alcohol to a known minor. I have that as the 4th worst punishment.
That was what I said?
What you said.
Let's go.
Felony misdemeanor, knowingly selling or giving alcohol, or cigs in our case, to a minor in Nevada is a misdemeanor. The penalty includes up to 6 months in jail and or up to $1,000 in fines.
Excellent.
Perfect. So good start.
I'll be interested to see how it all, like, what the accumulation of all of the punishments they would get.
Yeah. I think in concept it would be interesting as a video as well to see actually the accumulation. Discharging a firearm in public. According to S-House law, it is a crime in Nevada to willfully and maliciously fire a gun at or into a vehicle, structure, aircraft, or watercraft. Firing a gun at or into an abandoned structure, it carries on, is generally a misdemeanor, carrying up to 6 months in jail and or up to $1,000 in fines. Now, I gave that as 3rd as well, because I thought that's slightly...
And you'd be right.
I think we can give you 3rd, but I would have probably given some leeway for 3rd or 4th. Then.
Okay. But I got it right anyway, so.
But I'm going to just work out which one. All right. Running a red light.
Yep.
So, according to PacificWestInjuryLaw.com, running a red light in Nevada will get you a fine of somewhere between $300 and $1,000 and land you 4 demerit points on the driver's license.
Okay.
Your license is removed for 6 months at 12 points, similar to the UK here, although we have 3 points rather than 4. I counted the officers running 5 red lights.
Whoa. You asked what crimes had the worst punishment?
Meaning the officers were effectively driving without a license whilst committing the other 2.
I am having none of...
For which they could receive 6 months in jail. So we'd be looking at fines for $1,500 to $5,000, license revoked, and up to 6 months in jail, giving it the second...
This is ridiculous. I have had enough.
Crime.
I am furious. So hang on then. So 1st place and 5th place are left, but I allocated 1st place and second place. So remind me what they were.
We've got Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
And witness tampering, perverting the course of justice.
Okay, that has to be 1st.
5th.
You are joking.
Witness tampering, perverting the course of justice, evidence destruction, manipulation of procedures, and failure to follow policy are all police-related crimes.
Okay.
I couldn't find any punishment for them because they're all done internally, and they wouldn't... Like, none of them. I, tried to find loads of different variations. Obviously...
Wait, they're not police crimes.
Well, witness tampering, like, evidence destruction...
I could do that. I could break that law.
All right, but in their case, there were policemen doing it.
What about when the policeman drove past the red lights?
According to the Crown Prosecution Service
this is ridiculous.
Slaughterhouse in Nevada, and based on most of what I could find, which was a good 10 minutes research into this, it's very hard to charge police with this. Typically what happens is they just say that it's a mistrial.
It's been a little naughty of them. Apologies.
And first, Grand Theft Auto NRS 205.228 sets forth the Nevada crime for grand larceny of a motor vehicle, commonly referred to as Grand Theft Auto, carries a first-time offence, and they were not first-time offenders, of up to 5 years and $10,000 in fines.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's so mental. Okay, firstly, what's mental is the way that you pose that red light question completely incorrectly.
This is my retribution.
Yeah. Well, you got a true false quiz coming up.
The true false quiz.
You got a true false quiz coming up.
Which would be bullshit.
And the prize was for getting half of them right, and it's just gone up to 70%. And I'm going to change some of the truths. Right. Well, that was good fun. That was a good segment. I liked that. It looked like you did prep some quotes. Did you want to have a go?
I did prep some quotes, yeah, but I was thinking more. It might just be good to go through the older Wikipedia anyway.
The what? The Wikipedia?
The IMDb, perhaps. But I put some down. Let's just have a look and see some of our favourites.
So Fred has. Excuse me. I'll try that again. Fred has bought a collection of quotes. We're going to rank them. Let's do this.
Okay. So, I'm
going to start with a quote, right? You ready? Well, the funny thing about that, Becky... Wait, hang on.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Well, the funny thing about my back, Becky, is that it's located on my cock.
That is a goat.
That is
quote.
an S tier like
That is
that.
unbelievable. Yeah. So how are we scoring this? Maybe we do SUPER.
That's just confusing now. I'm going to go S, A, B, C, D. Like every other ranking system in history.
All right. Well, I will say UPER.
Okay, you're welcome to, but could you then also give me the actual rating? Okay, let's try that again. Fred has brought
with a score of P.
Freddie has brought a collection of quotes. We're going to rank them, starting with the funny thing about my back, Becky, is it is located on my cock. Which is going firmly in the S tier.
That is an S if ever I've seen one.
We're gonna go with back on cock to remember where it is. We're gonna have to start bleeping stuff at this.
Okay,
rate.
yeah. What
This section was always
how
gonna
many
need that.
disclaimers should we have on this? I also want to put a legal disclaimer
Spoilers.
that I am not advising you commit evidence destruction and tampering.
But you could get away with it
that
if
was
you're
more
part
just
of
a
the
fun
police.
joke on my part. Blame the Crown Prosecution Service for their poor explanation of the punishment of that. Okay, here we go. Seth. I'm saying the name of the character, not. I'll be like the Iron Chef of Pounding Vaj.
I'm going to go with A or B for me. I don't think it was that funny.
Well,
but
still,
it's
that's quite good though. A or
iconic.
B. It is quite iconic.
More-
I think it's in the delivery, isn't it? He makes
Yeah.
it. He brings that.
But if we do that, then everything is going to be near the top because these guys. So
I think
for these guys, is that what we're rating? Like, are we saying? I feel like we have to say it for that.
Sorry, I just forgot that you've written it down as back on cock. All right, Pounding Vaj. You know what? This isn't like the blind ranking. We can change. So why don't we put it firmly in B for the
I'm
time
going
being?
to put pounding
E.
badge.
P for pounding.
You know, when I came up with this, like afterwards, I was like, "There's no way we're going to be able to put this on anything. Like, we're just going to have to cut it."
Yeah, maybe this is on kids only channel or something.
Yes, yes.
All right. Some of these I was looking through IMDb. They're just classics.
Yeah. Okay.
I got a boner.
I like the impression. That was good. I know exactly who that was, but I don't think it was that good.
Shall we put? Yeah,
I think that's.
I think it's more
C-tier.
kind of an iconic. If you're quoting from Superbad, it's probably the easiest one to remember.
Okay, so let's establish this then. How much do we like how
our
how
favorites?
much do we how much do we like
This
it?
is a subjective.
I thought it was quite forgettable.
Yeah. All right, D. Fuck it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
have some in D. It's got to be like
Yeah.
a bell curve, I'd say. All right. Good shop cashier. Oh no, wrong one. Sorry, I've skipped. Officer Michaels. We shouldn't be cock blocking McLovin. We should be guiding his guy.
That's good.
I think it is good as well.
I like the
it.
fact that we started with the funny thing about my back, Becky, is because that like really sets the bar high.
Yeah,
for
if that's an
S.
S. Yeah.
There's no way that that's as good as that.
Well, we could have this as an A, like a gatekeeper to S.
Okay, because it
I
is
think this is
good.
a very good
It
line.
is good.
When it happens and he's like, yeah,
I'm going to put guiding cock.
guiding. We've got back on cock, guiding cock. This is
Pounding badge. And I got a boner.
We just need return to cock. all roads lead to cock. All right. So, good shopper cashier. How old are you? Seth, 22. Good shopper cashier. You certainly are. That'll be $80.
I did like that. I did like
Yeah.
that. For how much I like it as a quote,
Yeah.
that could be like a BC for me.
I really like that one. I remember that very.
Okay.
Very-
So would you
I
not
think
be
it's
even be
better than-
comfortable with a B?
I think it was an A, yeah, for me.
All right, we'll stick it in A. We'll see how it
We'll
goes.
we'll reshuffle.
What am I playing this as? You sure bet? What did you say?
You could put his usual bet, which has one of the words from the quote in it. Yeah, go on. You sure bet.
You sure bet.
You sure
can.
bet.
You put it in there, Jumper.
You're a sure thing.
You sure bet.
You sure bet, buddy.
You can put that in there.
All right. Seth. Hey, Greg, why don't you go piss your pants? Greg, the soccer player, turning around. That was like 8 years ago, asshole. People don't forget.
Yeah, good. I liked it, but for like nothing on. It's definitely not an ass.
Is it better than I Got a Boner?
Yeah.
Better than Boner?
Yeah, I
I'd
think
say so. And we don't have anything in C, so maybe we populate these.
I think
Cs.
this is a C.
I'm happy with C.
So
also, why I wanted to add it, though, is because it is Dave Franco's movie premiere? First movie? I think that's right.
Is this like that Sean Evans moment where you just made something up
No.
not even said it with confidence?
Dave Franco pissed his pants for the first time in this film.
Okay, well, people don't forget for that one.
Okay, fair enough. Good job. Fogel. You still haven't... I can't remember which impression I'm trying. Okay, I'm going to just say it. You still haven't told him that we're rooming together?
Is that the quote? That was probably a detail one, I'd say.
Fogel, shut the fuck up and take off that vest. You look like Aladdin.
Oh, that Sarah bit was bad. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Sarah, going from Sarah to Fogel is tough.
Mate, you don't see me trying any of these.
I don't want any of them. That's the issue.
I thought that every time Michael Cera came out with a bit of a burn, I loved it. I thought it was great.
Was that all right in the pantheon of Sarah Burns? Because I realised that I didn't go much further before I just decided to go for the cop crime segment. So I think we might need to go on IMDb in a moment. For the pantheon of Sarah Burns, where does that fall for you? You look like a
Not his best one. His best one. I had a better one in mind that was probably another S tier one that I remember.
Okay.
I think that's like BA.
I'd say Pounding Vag. You look like Aladdin.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice. Okay. What's it like to have a gun? It's like having two cocks. If one of your cocks could kill someone.
Yeah, I liked your delivery of that. But I actually thought when I first heard that, I was like,
You know why I like it? Because it was one of those sneaky quotes that I forgot about, where I've watched the film a few times. Every time you watch
it feel a bit predictable, though.
I think I like Rogen's delivery on it. Like, if one of your cocks could kill someone.
Yeah. Okay. I'm a bit so-so about that one.
I'll give it B again. Should we go? Well, I'm happy with B.
Shooting cock.
All right. Ethnically, was he like us or a woman? A female? Is that what you're asking? No, I would say. Was he African? Was he African? Oh, no, he was American. He was like you. He looked just like you. He was Jewish.
He was Jewish.
An odd crime for a Jew to commit.
No, it keeps going.
Okay, so we have an African Jew wearing a hoodie.
He goes, it's pretty odd crime for a Jew to commit. Yeah, they're pretty docile. That's what he says.
That's not on him.
Yeah, he says it. I
think that whole exchange is S for me. That is one of my favourite parts of the whole film. That's
kind of, for me, that's probably better than Guiding Cock and You Sure Bet.
Yeah.
So we're going to go with African Jew.
Oh, mate.
We're not going to be able.
That's a direct quote, right? So we can say that?
Yeah, we're fine with that.
All right, cool. African Jew. Big up. S tier.
Yeah, I think we got another S tier there. That made it into all the trailers as well. And if it didn't, I'd probably feel more.
Yeah, I think that's got to be
an S tier.
I'm going to go on Superbad quotes because
I got one that I can bring to the table from memory.
Here,
Jonah Hill, Seth. God, I'm so jealous you got to suck on those titties when you were younger. Michael Cera, yeah, well, at least you got to suck on your dad's cock.
Yeah, that is brilliant.
That's a great burn. That caught me.
What an opener as well.
Yeah,
because that's like the first scene.
It's such a burn that, just the delivery of it and everything.
Yeah, well, you want to go S for that?
That's probably one of the few that I reckon could be an S for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I would. For me, actually, it'd be an A. That.
Do you really not think it's better than Guiding His Cock and You sure bet.
Maybe, what is you sure bet again? I forgot.
There's the flashback thing.
Yeah.
Well, what does he actually say?
You certainly are.
Yeah, that's pretty close to what I thought.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, it's similar for me to those. I'll be honest with you.
All right, okay.
Prepare to be fucked by the long dick of the law. That can go quite low down, I think.
What do you reckon? See?
Yeah. You know when you hear girls say, "Ah, man, I was so shit-faced last night. I shouldn't have fucked that guy." We could be that mistake.
That's S or A.
Yeah, it's up there, isn't it?
That's one of the most important.
But are we saying iconic, or is it because that's the thing with the ones that aren't sneaky? Because you get to know them, you forget if they're funny. Like for me, I've forgotten: is that funny or is it just iconic?
A.
All right. You be the boss on that one.
We could be that guy.
You drop your purse, ma'am. Would you like me to help you with your groceries? Well, that would be lovely, young man. Would you like me to buy you alcohol? That would be lovely. Enjoy your remaining years. I will. Enjoy fucking Jules. I will.
Yeah, okay. I feel like your delivery on some of these makes a big difference.
I fucking loved that line so much. Imagine getting like an older... She's almost certainly dead now, that would. 17 years ago.
Well, that's dark, Fred. Thanks for that. Goodness me.
Again, rolling out this octogenarian. Getting her to say, enjoy fucking Jules. S.
Okay, fine. Nice. Okay.
Are there any other good ones that we missed? I mean, I am McLovin.
Okay. Iconic, justifiably, in quite a cool moment in the plot, because he's like, yeah, I'm going to do this. Not especially like that funny, I didn't think.
No, I think actually funnier part is like, look, he'll either think you're another young guy with a fake ID, or he'll think this is McLovin, the 25-year-old Hawaiian organ donor.
That's better.
Yeah,
I prefer that.
I think Michael Cera actually, it probably makes that scene. Like, when he goes, one name? What are you, Seal?
Okay, so we'll go, I tell you what, Sarah McLovin just goes in the S tier. And then, I reckon I Am McLovin is probably, it's got to be a A tier, surely.
Yeah. But do you like it?
I do. I really like it. I just don't think it's that funny. Like, but I really like it. Do you know what I mean?
Go on, get it in there.
Stick it in.
The whole drawing dick scene. There's no actual funny lines, but
there was the man dick. That was a line that I thought was quite funny in that scene. Like a man dick. Yeah, a man dick.
Right at the end. By the way, we're just direct quoting here. Nothing that
I like the man dick line.
he says the whole story, and then and he goes, "Well, I don't. It's really messed up. Super gay." He just walks off. Brilliant.
Okay,
that's a classic Sarah Turner phrase, isn't it?
Well, I tell you what, I reckon that puts us pretty nicely towards the end of that segment. Unless you had any off the top of your head you wanted to bring.
The only other thing I wanted to add, because this was something I specifically remember thinking, man, I've never clocked that before, and I loved it. And I don't know if we're going to do scene by scene anymore for the rest of the podcast. So one thing I do want to make sure I've said, my favourite scene from this, since I was a young whippersnapper, is when Michael Cera is in that coke-filled room and they make him sing These Eyes. Like, it just encapsulates how horrible. I feel like I've been on nights out where it's felt like you're just surrounded in a place you don't want to be. Yeah. And you felt his like anxiety turned up to 11, and then them like basically threatening a disguised threat of making him sing.
That ugly guy was threatening.
And some lines in it, my favorite line I'd say from the whole film, because it's such an underrated line, is when they're all going, "You're Jimmy's brother, the singer. My cousin came all the way from Scottsdale, Arizona to hear you sing. Now you're going to sing." And then the cousin who said nothing just goes, "Like a bird." And then they just cut away from him immediately.
I think that's a good line.
Okay, perfect. All right, so that my favorite scene, love it. But it came on brilliant. What I didn't realize and what I hadn't clocked, earlier in the film, when he gets hit by the car, when Seth gets hit by the car, and the guy comes out and he's like, "I can't go to jail, man. Oh my God."
Totally non-violent crime.
Yeah, totally non-violent crime. You want money? Here you go, man. Take it. This is $7. Oh man, I'm so sorry, guys. Are you guys on MySpace? Anyway, all that scene when it happens, at one point when he kind of chills out because he realizes they're not going to report him to the police, he goes, "You know what, man? You look just like Jimmy's brother."
Yes.
He's a singer. You look just like him. I've never clocked that before in my life. But
I've never seen it.
I just rewatched, when you've rewatched something enough and you see all the little Easter eggs, and that's one I'd always missed. But it just made me, it really added to the joke.
So, okay, for the sake of the quotes table, what do you want to know?
I want you to put Like a Bird in S tier.
Okay.
As my underrated selection for S.
Like a Bird.
That's the one
is an S. Do you know what, mate? I like it because it's by far the most subtle of the ones.
For sure. They cut away from it straight away.
Yeah.
You can tell they were filming it and they were like, just rib a bit here. And that guy potentially just went like a bird. And everyone was like, brilliant.
Yeah. This is what we needed.
I bet that's the sort of thing when they watch back, they enjoy that line.
Yeah.
Other ones done to death. Perfect.
Okay, cool. So are we done?
I reckon so. Go on. Do you want to rattle
I don't know
off
I don't know if I really do want to rattle off all this, to be honest. Not on record.
Yeah, that's probably a good shout.
This is not a good list to be reading out. If you've been watching this video, which I can't see this making its way onto YouTube, unfortunately, you'll be able to see the list.
Do you reckon we can't release this?
Well, can you be bothered to bleep out everything that we shouldn't have said? And then would it even be worth watching it?
Oh, that's such a shame because this was a lot of fun.
But this could be one of those where we stick it to the template and me and you
this
can
would be one Drool.
Yes.
Drew L will be able to watch this.
Yes. I'll put a little shout out for him halfway through this for a different segment.
Nice. Okay, cool.
We could send this to him. Directly. Hi, our only friend.
He absolutely hates Superbad. And we just sent him a tiered list of Superbad quotes, which are really on the nose.
I can't imagine that Dr. Drew is too PC. I think he seems like a cool guy.
Top bloke.
Okay, so moving on to segment 3 now. Let me get this ready. I'll do our little intro in a second. I have 20 facts about Superbad. Some true, some false. If Fred gets 10 correct, he wins a Mate Night token.
Ooh. Oh, do you want to explain the Mate Night token for?
No, I was hoping to keep it punchy, Fred.
That was a very punchy insult back to me.
That was the whole point in that, was to be punchy.
All right.
I'll try again. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so Mate Night token can be used on any future challenges. You can come up with a challenge for me before an episode, during an episode, whatever you want.
Perfect.
If you get a Mate Night token, but given your misbehavior in the earlier segment, I'm moving that up to 14 correct.
Well, that's still less than the last ratio that you expected.
Yeah, I expected 80%. This is now 70%.
Okay, let's try.
Yeah, okay, right. So,
true or false?
I'm going to do my intro. I have 20 facts about Superbad. Some true, some false. If Fred gets 10 correct, he wins a Mate Night token that can be used for any challenge for me. Fact 1. Seth Rogen initially wanted to play the character Seth, but was considered too old by the time of filming.
True.
Correct. Fact number 2. Jonah Hill was originally cast to play McLovin, but switched roles for Christopher Mintz-Plasse at the last minute. I'm
going to go false.
Correct.
Nice.
Emma Stone auditioned for the role of Jules with a British accent, thinking the character was from the UK.
Ooh, why would she think that? I'm going to go false.
Correct.
Nice.
I'm glad I moved up my...
I feel like, why would she be like, read a random character from a US school and go, I think that this is a British character.
Well, you know what, mate? You can submit your complaints.
Apologies. I forgot you made these up. So
No, I didn't. I got ChatGPT to do most of them. I ran out of time. Jonah Hill initially disliked Christopher Mintz-Plasse during auditions, which ironically made the producers want him more.
True.
Evan Goldberg's brother created over 1,000 penis illustrations for the infamous penis drawing scene.
Oh, I know someone did because they're there. And I know it wasn't a kid, but I can't remember. I used to know this. I'm going to go false.
Incorrect.
It wasn't his brother. It was his brother.
You
Fuck.
idiot.
I always had it in my head that it was like some sort of like a woman. Obviously it wasn't.
No, I don't think it was. I mean, I only know their name is... Oh, no, it's Evan Goldberg's brother.
Right.
So probably a bloke.
Nice.
Rogen and Goldberg met in a bar mitzvah class and started writing the movie when they were just 13.
True.
Correct. The film's original title was Bad Boys, but it was changed to avoid confusion with the Will Smith and Martin Lawrence movie.
I don't know when that came out. Yeah, I'm going to go true.
Incorrect. So I think you've got two incorrect so far, and that was question 7.
7, only 7, but
Yeah,
right.
so
We're
you've
getting
got
dicey.
5 out of 7. Superbad was Emma Stone's film debut.
For those who haven't listened, Jamie made a point of saying that.
Jamie might have mentioned that earlier on.
True.
Incorrect. No, that is correct.
That would have been a genius red herring that you'd just thrown in.
I wish I was that smart. Bill Hader's character was based on a real police officer who consulted on the film, known for his unorthodox methods.
I'm going to go false.
Correct.
Let's go.
Christopher Mintz-Plasse was only 14 years old during filming, making him the youngest cast member ever in such a role.
Nah, he was like 17, I think. False.
Correct. Are you keeping track? Yeah. You're on 8 out of 10.
Okay, cool.
The Gold Slick vodka featured in the movie was a real brand created by the producers, but was discontinued after the film's release due to poor sales.
Ah, that's interesting. I'm going to go false.
Correct.
Oh, let's go.
Seth Rogen's real father played the irate dad in one of the backyard chase scenes.
Oh, true.
Correct.
Let's go.
The party scene took 21 days to shoot, making it one of the longest party scenes ever filmed.
Yeah, true.
Incorrect.
So, was it one of the shortest, was it?
No, it's just completely fabricated. Probably quite irregular. Probably quite irregular. It's a very regular length.
It was 21 days, which was a regular length of party scene on the spectrum of long party scenes.
Eminem is a huge fan of Superbad, quoting it in his music and praising it to Jonah Hill directly.
I know this is true.
Correct. A phone camera picture of Christopher Mintz-Plasse led him to being cast as McLovin.
Oh, false.
Incorrect.
Ooh.
Is that 4 incorrect now?
Ooh, yeah, I reckon.
You're on for a good. You so that's 4 incorrect out of 50. So you're 11 out of 15, and you have to get 14.
So I'm going to 3 out of 5.
So you need to
I
get
counted that right. Yeah, 3 out of 5. Let's go.
maybe.
This is interesting. Close.
Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg planned a sequel titled Superbad 2: College Years, but it was scrapped due to scheduling conflicts.
True.
Incorrect. Oh no! Freddie has to get 3 out of the next 4.
3 out of 4
to win
to
the Mate
get.
Night token. McLovin's sex scene required his mother's presence on set due to legal age restrictions.
True.
Correct. The role of McLovin was specifically created for an inexperienced actor to bring a genuine naivety to the character.
True.
Correct.
Ooh, it's dicey. What's this? One
We got
more,
2 questions left. If you get
that was a good 2 there.
so, hang on. So
I need 1 out of 2.
You only need 1 out of these 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Eminem was briefly considered for a cameo role as a liquor store customer.
Well, he's a big fan, as you said in one of the other facts, and he was referencing that scene. So it would make sense. True.
Incorrect. Oh my God. The last and final question. If Fred gets this correct, he wins a Mate Night token.
Ooh.
If he gets it incorrect, he loses and it's
He
embarrassing.
loses everything.
And maybe a couple hundred people will see. If they make it this far through the video.
No way they've gone through 19 facts.
Question 20.
Let's
all
go.
or nothing.
Let's go.
McLovin's fake ID.
Pardon?
McLovin.
McLovin.
You're buying time because you're about to
Highlander.
lose. You're about to go down.
You're immortal, McLeod.
McLovin's fake ID only said McLovin due to a printing error originally intended to be a common name like Michael Smith.
False.
Correct. Freddie wins mate I token. Let's go.
Hey,
That was
let's go.
exciting, man.
That was
I'm glad
well
you
fun.
gave us a bit more excitement than last game where you just got them all wrong at the start. And it was game over within 4
I
questions.
thought the tactic this time of getting a few right was better for the content.
Brilliant. That was exciting though. Well
That
done,
was
Fred.
good. That was very fun.
Please toe the line that well next time.
I was thinking when we had 1 with 2, I was like, "Ooh, this could be more interesting if I get this wrong." But I
Yeah.
did genuinely try to answer correct.
Oh, and I tell you what, mind, if I didn't change the winning threshold right before we started,
That would have been a
it
real.
would not have been that entertaining. It probably still won't be that entertaining, but
That'd be fun for us though.
okay. Segment 3. What Superbad did better than anyone else? Fred, what did Superbad do better than anyone else?
Best ever performance by a child.
Oh, that's so good. What's the competition?
All right, there's been some Oscar winners.
Okay.
Anna Paquin in the piano.
Can you just be specific about the performance of the child?
Christopher Mintz-Plasse as the only child.
The best ever performance
Sneaks under the radar as a 17-year-old.
child.
We've already mentioned he was brilliant.
Are there any other ones that can come to mind? I'm not our film correspondent here. I do not know.
There have been multiple children who have won Oscars, and I've not watched any of their films. And I refuse to believe that kids who are actual kids are good at acting.
Apart from Christopher Mintz-Plasse.
Well, he wasn't. I think it's a technicality, which is why he wins.
Rattle off some child performances. Did you watch Stranger Things or a few kids in that?
Yeah, they're all right, aren't they? But they're all
Did you watch
right. I've seen like some of the first episode, and I was like, this is fine.
Some
You've
of the
watched a
first
lot, haven't you?
episode.
No, some of the first series, sorry.
Some of the first season.
You've-
Yeah, I think, you know, they're okay, but when you compare it to Christopher Mintz-Plasse, it's not even a question, is
Absolutely murders.
it? That's a
doesn't it?
good one, that.
Well, I was thinking because 100% there are more famous child acting performances.
Yeah.
So if we awarded it the Mate Night Award, not token, the award for the best ever child performance, what a grand thing
Yeah.
for it to achieve.
That must be such an honor for Christopher Mintz-Plasse to receive that.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
These are important awards.
This is the inaugural award of this as well.
Wait till the...
Second
Wow, that's such a good point. Wait till we get to the award season at the end as well.
award season, and we'd be able to reference this always. The first ever award that Mate Night Podcast ever gives could be for the best child acting performance of all time.
Mate, that is a damn good, because I literally cannot think any child performances that come to mind pale into comparison. There's nothing that can
He
even
killed
come
it.
to close.
Absolutely killed it.
So how old was he?
17, I think.
Okay, so there's a bit of an advantage there, but
Yeah.
technically,
Yeah.
I wonder if there are any other 17-year-old performances. I mean, like, I know.
They're probably 17-year-old performances, but are there any as iconic as that? Well, tell us in the comments, because I know you'll think of a million, but
Who, I realize that there's no way that he beat Christopher Mintz-Plasse, but were there any, what's the Zendaya's boyfriend called that, he's quite popular.
Tom Holland.
Did he do any good performances when he was a kid? I know he was acting reasonably young.
Well, what was he in the that one about the flood? Which I forgot.
Yeah,
now.
that was the one that kind of came to mind.
Oh, here we go. See, look at all of these. Oh, I'll tell you what was. See, a lot of them are older films, right? That.
They're all in the noughties.
Oh yeah. Yes, they are.
Well,
Thingy.
due to Mate Night's lack of knowledge about
True
films,
Grit. She was pretty good. True Grit. I remember her.
was she Christopher Mintz-Plasse?
No, I don't think she was as good. She was good. She was
She
good.
was
The thing is, she
good.
was good for a child.
Okay, how old was she?
Christopher Mintz-Plasse was excellent for an adult, and he was a child. He was phenomenal. He was like an era-defining role. That era-defining performance.
Yeah,
in the comedy space.
I don't think anyone even comes close.
What was yours, by the way?
I tell you who did a decent job, and I think they were a kid, and they did a good job of this particular role. I thought was when the Netflix production of Wednesday came out. What's her name?
Jenna Ortega?
Yeah. I don't know if she was a kid then. She was obviously playing a kid, but she fit that role pretty well. I thought she did a good job of that if she was a kid at the time. I think
they're standing... I get what you mean, like iconic.
She did a good job of it. She did a very good job.
But standing the test of time, I feel like I would make a bet that Jenna Ortega's Wednesday Addams won't supersede Christopher Mintz-Plasse's McLovin.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a pretty damn good suggestion. The main night award that I was going to give was for the only acceptable high school coming of age movie that's actually any good.
Yeah. All right. Did you have any other in the runnings?
Best casting ever. No, but I felt like that was a bit...
Sorry, I meant coming of age films.
Oh, no. I don't like them. It was the only one that I gave it a 7.5. I hate them.
Well, all right. How about this then? So that we don't... All right, I've got it. This is the award. The best ever child performance in a coming of age film of the 2000s.
Do you think that you have to weaken it from yours? That weakens it considerably.
Yeah.
That's and it's a good contender for it. I reckon we'll probably get complained at for it, but as far as I'm concerned, like
I don't think when people say child acting performances, they probably don't think Christopher Mintz-Plasse
because he was a 17-year-old.
He was a man. But yeah, I think that.
So what's the award? Are we going to weaken it, or are we going to keep it strong?
I was more doing it to cover our base, over any base.
No, I don't think.
We're going for it.
It's the best child performance I've watched. Which I mean, I've watched Harry Potter.
They are dog shit.
They're not great.
They're so bad.
What about any
or worse? Expelled.
That's an iconic line. We need to do the Harry Potter films.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
It's a best Harry Potter film.
Anyway, so the Mate Night podcast has determined that Superbad did better than any other film. The greatest child performance ever in history, without a doubt, according to Fred.
And we've thought of like 3 or 4 of them. They're pale in comparison.
Which, to be fair, the only ones we come up with, not even a question.
Yeah, I think people go, Anna Paquin in the piano is won by someone in a film called Paper Moon. I think maybe is it films. Paper Moon? Paper something.
Okay,
it's again quite an old film. As I haven't watched it. More, I thought this was quite a funny. You know what? If I think you could hold up Christopher Mintz-Plasse's performance to any child acting performance of all time and say he's done a better job. I'll stick by that.
You know what, mate? I'd be inclined to agree with you. Okay, so we're moving on to... We've got quite a lot of smaller segments. So before we move on to the final segment, we're going to take a quick break and we will see you on the other side.
Lovely. Speak in a sec.
Welcome back.
Welcome.
Hi, Dr. Drool.
Dr. Drool.
Or Dr. Drew.
Dr. Drew L.
Could be. I feel like that's not going to end up in a video, and I would like it to be in a video. So we're going to move on to one last little segment before the critical score. This is a recurring segment because I feel the need to write a review anyway. Every time I do it, I feel so glad I did it. I've written a review. Fred's going to read it out because it makes it a little more interesting. So, Freddie, when you are ready.
Oh, nice. Good rhyming.
Click on the Jambo's Review segment.
Jambo's Review of Superbad. I do not like this genre. This is the best. 7.5.
That's my review.
Nice.
There's actually quite a lot left to go.
Well, I'm struggling to... is there a reason why I can't...
Yeah, you should be able to scroll it.
Why isn't it? Maybe if I click on it.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, that's right. Jambo's Review I do not like this genre. This is the best. 7.5. Here are some things which I do not like in movies. Cringe humour. Storylines which could be avoided with a single conversation. High schools. Excessively angry characters. Here are some things which are included in Superbad. Cringe humour. Storylines which, you get the idea.
Come on, man. What's that delivery? That's so obviously not how I meant for that to be read.
Storylines which, you get the idea.
It's more of a storylines. You get the idea.
You know what I'm talking about.
You know what I'm talking about. Anyway.
However, here are the also things. That wasn't a me, that was a you. Here are the also things which I could not possibly complain about.
What is that sentence?
So good. Thank you for not rereading that.
What is that sentence?
However, here are the also things which I could not possibly complain about. Cringe humour.
That is terrible.
Michael Cera, oh yeah, Jonah Hill and Christopher Mintz-Plasse were born for these roles. You've seen them do it 1,000 times, but this was early enough in their career that you have to acknowledge the god-tier casting here. Yeah, very true. What makes this even crazier is that my favourite casting of these, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, he kept that under wraps in the thing, very nice, was a wild card, an unknown performer prior to this movie. The casting department smashed it out of the park. We are going to get onto casting for our performance character scores. Brilliant.
100%.
As improvisation was the name of the game when shooting this, it also meant that the dialogue was creative and, importantly, hilarious. In my opinion, of course. Next, somewhat unusually, the plot was pretty awesome. I love the way they split the storylines and interwove them throughout. I would say that the conflict between Seth and Evan, Jonah Hill and Michael Cera's characters, was a classic, could have been avoided with some simple honesty, which annoys me in movies. But there were other very important drivers to the plot, great driving force, which didn't fall fault to this.
Does that actually make sense? It sounded right in my head, but the blue bits underneath make it look like it doesn't.
Oh, reading it, I struggle to make
Which didn't fall fault to this. If you read it quick, does it?
You know what? If you
say it with confidence,
if it wasn't written and you said it, no one would question it.
Okay.
But it is written.
It is written, and it is wrong.
I think so, yeah. It didn't fall fault to this. It's definitely not.
It's definitely wrong.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think
at least
what is right.
And at least 100 people are going to see this.
Okay, so it's a very important drivers to the plot which didn't fall fault to this. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like,
there are other things.
Yeah, it almost always these films, like, the only thing that pushes them forward is one thing that could be avoided with a conversation, whereas there's so many other things going on in this movie that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, very prevalent in rom-coms, which you said you do dislike. And we spoke about this at the start, where yes, there are, a conversation would fix this, but I think the whole point of being young and pubescent and adolescent is that you do stupid things that you look back on and think, well, I'd have just said this at the time. Yeah. So I just
don't think it makes for very good movies, personally.
Fair enough. But luckily, in this case, it was kind of a small...
Wasn't as important.
Part of the overall.
They had other really good things going on in the plot.
Yeah, for sure. Overall, then, this movie represents everything I can't stand in a movie, and yet... they did such an incredible job in so many areas that I couldn't ever call it bad. And so I settled on above average, 7.5. I'm always interested in your reviews now are kind of tied to the scores. In this one, first one I've seen of yours that has had the review at the start and end. We've spoken about this a bit. 7.5. Thoughts on that? Still...
when I wrote the line and so I settled on above average 7.5, I was like, yeah, that does sound like 7.5 to me. Above average. 7 is average, 7.5 is above average, and then 8 is great. And there's a lot that goes in.
For some reason, right?
On reflection, when I say it out loud, if it was written down, it would make sense. But because I said it out loud, it doesn't make any sense.
7 is average, 7.5 is above average, 8 is great.
8 is one of the best. And then, there's a lot of room in between that. Yeah. No, so
it's the way you say it. You go, 8 is great.
8 is great.
8
my review numbers, my ratings are like horrifically inconsistent. They're terrible.
But that's why
yeah.
that's the idea behind that bit.
I mean, it just is what it is.
How do you feel about it? That's the idea of that score.
Yeah, and I felt 7.5.
Okay.
I felt 7.5. I felt like there's no way you could say, there's no way that I could say I didn't enjoy the movie.
Mm.
And I think that is because it was an insanely well executed version of something that I don't like.
Mm. Right. Okay.
That's kind of how I came to that score.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I think that's fair then.
Christopher Mintz-Plasse, my favorite casting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I've just seen Michael Cera enough. When I saw Mintz-Plasse do his thing, it was more refreshing. But they're of a similar caliber to me, you know. But I just felt like, I tell you what, I didn't like Jonah Hill's character like that much because he was just too. His anger felt one-dimensional to me.
You know what? With Jonah Hill, right? I actually preferred him before he became Jonah Hill.
Okay, when was that?
I don't know.
Before Superbad? Or
no, I'm more saying like Superbad is his kind of crowning. That was his coming out to being a successful film star.
Okay.
I'm more thinking in terms of stuff I've watched of him and his demeanor and stuff like that. I just find him a bit of an annoying character. I find him a bit of an annoying personality.
Yeah.
Which, you know, it'll be tough being interviewed all the time and having your personality out there. And I think that he tried to set boundaries, which is why it sometimes comes across a bit annoying to me. And
so you're thinking more kind of outside of the performances?
I've seen like stuff where he's, just interviews that he's done where I'm like, I just don't really. He's not someone
I've seen
really
similar
not
clips.
a fan, I'll say maybe. But I don't have anything against him. But I think that retrospectively, that makes me dislike his performance more than I used to.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's still looking at it, trying to be objective and looking at it. I still think he's great. He's a great part of that trio. Needs all three of them.
I agree. It needs him,
and I think I maybe do him a bit of a disservice. And
I could have done with it. Yeah, that's going to get clipped. Yeah, I don't like Jonah Hill. Not his performance. I just don't like him. I think that this is one of those situations, a bit like a comment I had in Full Metal Jacket, where the argument could be made that you need a character to be a certain way. But I personally think that I'm not convinced he had to be to that level. And there could have been a couple of moments where he had a second dimension to him.
Yeah.
They tried to do it at the end. And I wasn't totally convinced by that whole scene where they were in the sleeping bags. They got drunk and then they came back after the night out and they kind of made up and they were very drunk. And I was like, I get what they're doing screenplay wise. It makes sense. But I feel like I really didn't like that character this whole film. And that kind of annoyed me a bit. And then I'm supposed to buy this kind of tender moment. I just don't.
I feel like, and it comes across sometimes, if you watch that, if you watch the audition tapes of him, so there's the audition of him in the trailer. That's been filmed.
Yeah.
And there's the audition with the three of them that I referenced earlier. He comes across as and by the way, I'm going to preface this by saying you need people like this, but he does come across as a slightly needy performer.
Okay.
Like, so he needs the attention. Whereas with Sarah and Christopher Mintz-Plasse, it's effortless. Like, they're not trying to get your laugh.
Yeah.
So, Jonah Hill's still incredible, right? And he's very incredibly funny. Obviously,
and you're holding him
funny.
up against some of the best performances of their particular role.
Yeah, I just feel like, you watch Christopher and Michael Cera and they feel like they're not going after it. It's coming to them. And, you can't exactly like teach that. And it's almost more admirable when someone is, having to work for it.
Yeah. But you look at Michael Cera and you're like, you are clearly just naturally very funny like that. And I don't feel like you've had to work for that. You're just a very funny person.
Yeah, to make a straight man role funny, that's like, there's no...
He is unbelievably talented.
You can't do that with effort. Yeah, you can't do that with effort.
I feel like, he's done probably the smart thing as an actor where he's taken his typecasting and gone like, it makes sense. I'm just going to do that for my whole career. And you know what? Like, you kind of just got to respect it a bit, haven't you?
Yeah, potentially the most typecast individual in cinema history. And I just don't see how he would ever. Maybe he's tried other stuff that I haven't seen, to be honest.
We should see if we can find one.
But I just, at the
Where
moment,
Michael Cera tries to do literally anything other than Michael Cera.
doing Hamlet. Yeah, to be or not to be.
That's a Star Wars reference, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that I think it'd just be so tough for him. But he's just a natural. He's just.
Can you
like,
imagine?
So
He just
smooth.
came out in like they got Gladiator 2 coming out soon.
Yeah.
I am Maximus, and he just nails it. You just
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius, father to a murdered son.
yeah, that would be. I tell you what, we'd be eating out.
I will have my vengeance. I'll have my vengeance. McLovin as well would be a.
Oh yeah. He would be funny.
I'll have my vengeance.
I feel like those guys are just so funny that you could see them in almost any situation, and they just
It's perfect.
Jonah Hill his characters kind of often need someone to get pissed off at a little bit, and like.
But what you would say is Jonah Hill, because he almost has to work for it. He's the one who's way more easily transitioned to other roles. Like,
Yeah, okay.
He's double Oscar nominee.
Yeah, okay.
He was amazing, amazing in Moneyball, amazing in
Moneyball,
amazing in Wolf of Wall Street, and he plays different characters in them.
He's he is an unbelievable actor.
He's best actor of the three.
Of the three, he's very, very good. I really like him, and my main gripe was predominantly the character. He did a great job of the thing that was written down for him. He did an unbelievable job of the thing that was written down for him. I just didn't like the thing that was written down very much. And like, I think it probably would have been a slightly better movie if the protagonist was somebody I liked. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, or at least didn't dislike.
I'd have to disagree. I think that they just worked so.
Do you not think he was a bit of a dick?
Yeah, I do.
Like, and it kind of made you not like him.
Yeah, but I think that worked for the
first hour and 20 minutes, and then started to get a bit tiring.
Well, he did kind of have a bit of redemption in certain areas, like saving him in the party. But I get what you mean. It's clear throughout that the worst person out of the three of them is him. And
it's not like it's really. It's not like it's intertwined with other bits of depth for the character. He's just a dick.
Yeah.
He's just a one-dimensional dick. And then they try to redeem him at the end, and I just didn't buy it. I was just like, yeah, you're still a dick.
I think that I enjoyed it for what it was, which is the three of them just working so well in tandem.
8.2 is a big score, mate.
Yeah, it was very tough to work out. I felt like it had to be an 8 in the end for me, in the 8s.
If you had to go up or down from that, what would you?
I'd probably go. I think, if I had to go up or down, it would probably be down, but not by much.
Okay. Well, it would be by 0.1, presumably.
Yeah.
I don't
know why I even said. Be within 1 whole point, I would say.
Okay, cool. So, we are going to move on to our final segment.
Very excited for this one.
This is really the defining USP of the podcast. So it's time to wrap this up with our critical score ranking. We're going to rate Superbad out of 10 in 7 more categories: plot, character, dialogue, performance, visual, sound, and genre realization. Here we want to determine how good a movie was, and so we do take the age into consideration. We have 2 minutes per category. First off, plot. Plot is a sequence of events which takes place in the narrative. Do they make sense? Are the stakes high enough? Were there any surprises? We have 2 minutes to agree on a rating out of 10. Go.
So, plot. I feel like you have more strong opinions on this.
I don't think it's good. I don't think it could ever be anything like an 8 or higher.
No. I think really, like, it's almost a...
What are in the 8s?
The thing is, you got coming of age stories, right, are all set in a school, will they, won't they vibes in terms of relationships.
Yeah.
one, or in this case, a couple of zany secondary characters who come to cause a bit of a ruckus, get from one bizarre situation to another that is all within the realms of reality.
It's not like I was looking at our 8s and it's got Casablanca, Jaws, like it's a 8's a big thing. So
I think that we're saying 7 and below, really.
Easily. When I look at it, and then we've given 6s to Space Odyssey, Crouching Tiger, 5 to Full Metal Jacket and The Exorcist, 4 to Empire Strikes Back, A Few Good Men, and Heat.
For anyone thinking that's a bit of a crazy,
we're harsh
score.
Rankers.
So typically our scores will follow a pattern, particularly for plot, where if there are any sort of plot holes or just gripes that we have that are petty, that will mark it down massively. Yeah. So general story, we don't care that much about. It's more, is there anything that annoyed us about the plot? And if there is, we give it a low score.
Plot's probably the only section where I feel like we really are as brutal as I would like to be everywhere else.
It's not even that we're just brutal, we're just so inconsistent.
No, we're inconsistent. We're very consistently inconsistent.
Consistently unfair. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, I want to say,
I don't think it's better than Empire Strikes Back, A Few Good Men, or Heat. Maybe it is.
It's a 4. But yeah, but it doesn't have any glaring plot holes.
Okay.
Well, is it?
So I feel like there's no way it's higher than Exorcist Full Metal Jacket.
Fine, yeah, okay.
That seems like a...
Well, this is what you got to remember. We're doing good films here. We haven't done...
Yeah.
When we start, consistently watching non-classics, we're going to have actually bad plots.
Yeah.
We're going to have plots where we're like, shit, we've given Empire Strikes Back a 4. What do we give this? A -2?
No, Empire Strikes Back is a pretty bad film.
Right.
Next, we have character. Character is a collection of beings within the narrative. We have 2 minutes to agree on a rating out of 10. Go.
Well, this will be high.
This has got to be a high one.
So I think we're agreed that so we've got character and performance are both separate scores, which for this case, sometimes that's difficult because sometimes we have to separate in our minds who is a character, who is the performance. For this, it's not difficult. The performances are incredible. The characters, pretty good, but I wouldn't say they're...
I feel like you can make the case for, due to the improvisation element of this whole thing, this is one of those films where character and dialogue character and performance and dialogue kind of all almost should get the same rating a little bit.
I would say character lowest, and I'll tell you why. Yeah. You could take from an assortment of coming-of-age films, with like 16 Candles, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Breakfast Club, obviously this one I can't think of any 2000s, but all of them have a selection of kind of interesting, kind of zany, let's say like quirky characters, right? Which you could all throw in a melting pot. You could throw it in a big mixing bowl, take a random one and chuck it into any of the other films. Yeah. And what makes those films and differentiates them is that the performances themselves.
Totally agree.
They elevate you. Essentially, coming of age films are an example where writers get the chance to literally create storyboards of funny, interesting, zany character ideas because we're doing a comedy. Let's just do something random and rogue, like have, the policemen are divorcee used to be with a prostitute who also now is committing random acts of felony all the time. That could be in any one of those films, and it's the performances that make them.
I agree.
For that reason, I don't reckon we give it like more than like an 8. I'd say
I don't know. When you explain it like that, and I think about them as characters, it's like the horny one is like the nerd, like the 2 nerdy ones. It's kind of it is a question of performance and dialogue.
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't think they're even an 8. I think that those characters are just bang in the middle.
Bang in the middle.
7. Okay, agree. Cool. So next we have dialogue. Dialogue is the lines spoken between the characters. We have 2 minutes to agree on a rating out of 10. Go.
All right, give me a reason why this wouldn't be a 10.
That's a tough one. Is there anything faultable with the dialogue at all?
Well, you know me, and you know our scoring system. It heavily, particularly for dialogue, heavily on memorable lines.
Great lines.
Great lines is kind of how we typically.
Jaws and Casablanca are in our
brilliant lines.
210s out.
This is like amazing.
When we go through that quote section, I was going to be like very harsh about the S tier, and there were a lot in the S and A tier.
So the only thing in terms of dialogue, the thing is, it's a comedy.
Yeah.
Top performing comedies, right? Dialogue is their zone. That's like their area.
Okay.
I would expect us to have, when we get to 100, 200 films, the most 10s will probably be in comedy, because a good comedy is dialogue's most of the battle. I forgot to do that, the timer. But
could there be an argument to be made for any perhaps more interesting dialogue when you think about films? Like Tarantino's known for his dialogue, right? It makes characters sound very, very interesting the way they talk. Could there be an argument for all of the dialogue was of a particular, like a very particular type, and there wasn't any kind of real range in the dialogue? Could you make a case for that?
Yeah.
Or do you think that would be an unfair thing to hold a comedy to? Because
one thing
job.
All right, so here you go. I would make that case if you were to say that there's a type of comedy that falls into, a similar sphere of dialogue. You'd look at the 2000s and beyond, Rogan, Judd Apatow, that sphere of comedy.
Yeah,
they have a similar style, and so the style is great. The dialogue in it is great. If you're going to mark it down, it would be that it is not the best or one of the best of that category. And I would argue that because it is like at least top 3, maybe the best of those sphere of comedies, it deserves to have a 10.
I think that you've convinced me that's definitely a 10. Yeah, I don't think that you can mark that down.
All right.
Okay, next we have performance. We have 2 minutes to agree on a rating out of 10. Go.
10.
Was there any... I didn't know if the performance of the cops was a 10 out of 10 themselves, but then it kind of becomes a bit of a thing of like, can you give a... Does a 10 out of 10 performance film require every single performance in the film to be 10 out of 10, or does it just need enough of them to be good enough to make the 10?
For me, right, the cops they're great as well. I think they're all... I don't think there's a bad like.
I don't know. I wasn't like totally convinced by them. I thought that it was kind of almost a little bit sort of silly overacting and not actually like very like that great.
Yeah,
like,
for sure. But the whole thing is overacting.
But if you took them without the other 3, there's no way I'd be giving that a 10. There is no way you could argue those 2 cops got a 10 out of 10 on performance.
No, but I think they do. For me, I really enjoy their performance. Yeah. And with the balance of the other 3 as well, being just, like...
We've only got one other 10 on performance, and that's Citizen Kane.
Do we?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, that's mad.
Godfather
How did
9.
we not give Godfather? Is it because of Marlon Brando?
It's because if there's even one real substandard performance, it kind of means you can't give it a 10 out of 10.
We literally gave it Citizen Kane a 10 in that before we even understood what the rank. That was like the first film we ever did. Right, okay. That seems like, I feel like you got to be a 9 then. Oh man, I reckon buck the trend. I'm going 10. You can, if you decide lower, you decide lower. But
it falls with
for me. Super bad performance, 10.
Yeah, okay. Because Michael Cera, Christopher Mintz-Plasse.
You've got to remember, we're talking the greatest child acting performance of all time.
Okay. All right. So, next we have visuals, CGI, costume, makeup, cinematography. We have 2 minutes to agree on a rating out of 10. Go.
Okay,
is there any reason why you wouldn't just put it bang in the middle? Like, is there anything, could you make an argument for it being below or above average?
But our visuals are quite good here. Let's see so much about we got Princess Bride of 5.
Like, almost every single rating I look at on here, I'm like, how the hell did we get to that?
The one thing I do actually paying attention to the visuals when I rewatch this. Typically, if we're rewatching a film we've already watched, I'll try and look at stuff that we're actually reviewing, like the visuals and sound, which I wouldn't notice enough first time. I did find it interesting how it's such a kind of weird 70s vibe to it.
I know what you mean.
Did you get that? Obviously, the soundtrack, which we'll get onto, but also the clothing, even the hairstyles.
Yeah, the color grading was very
color massively.
Like the whole thing was with a 70s sort of filter on it.
So, I mean, that was kind of interesting, but I wasn't too sure why they did it, so I couldn't really comment on whether.
And it's not especially challenging.
No, it's more just, it's interesting that they've decided to do that.
What about the outfits? Were there any? They were fine.
Yeah.
I don't think I would want to give it a 6. I feel like I'd want to give it a 7, right?
Well, what is in 6? 7's Full Metal Jacket in Chinatown.
Oh yeah, we can't give it the same as those guys. Princess Bride and Case, it's got to be a 6. We can't. Yeah, I don't know.
Let's do our first 6, I reckon.
I don't know what I'm talking about. What? Yeah, 6. That's like it's fine. 6 is fine. 7's good. 8 is great. I'm finally getting there.
Yeah. We'll remember.
9 is
you know what
excellent.
We should do? Every time we do one of these, we should run through in our head what everything is. Maybe we should actually write that down.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know what 6 was until 20 seconds ago.
Yeah, 6 is fine.
6 is fine.
6.5 is average. Well, 6.5 is average, right? Oh, that's the issue, is we only ever score either 6 or 7, so it basically is it slightly below average or slightly above average?
Yeah.
Then we'll go slightly below.
Yeah, but
you
not
couldn't
possibly.
It's
not
slightly
bad.
below. It's just fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
6 is fine.
Right, sound 6.
No, I disagree.
Let's
really
hear
like it.
Next we have sound.
Shit.
Next we have sound. We have 2 minutes to agree on a rating out of 10. Go. Let's hear your case.
I thoroughly enjoyed the soundtrack.
I didn't notice it, so you're going to have to remind me.
It was just a lot of kind of 70s vibe.
What was the whole 70s
I
thing
don't know.
about?
I don't know if they were 70s. It felt like the 70s, but it was kind of old school. I think there was a Four Top song which I've now downloaded. It was, "Are you man enough? Big man enough?"
That was good, yeah.
And there was maybe Papa's Got a Brand New Bag was in there. I don't know.
I'll tell you what as well is I like it when a film implements sound as part of the story, and in this case I'm talking about Michael Cera singing, where it actually made part of the story.
This film got me to discover one of my all-time favorite songs by The Guess Who. That is an unbelievable.
So can I hear what number you're thinking?
I mean,
right
it's
now?
still, look, sound is one which the sound and score and soundtrack and sound mixing and anything sound design of films are so, we've had some massive heavy hitters over time, so it's not gonna break into like the Jaws and the Star Wars. Our 8s are
Alien, Psycho, The Thing, Exorcist, Heat, and Princess Bride. And you know what? I can kind of see it amongst those. I don't feel like it's an 8, but then when I look at our 8,
that's the thing, isn't it? Because sometimes we give things an 8 and then we think 8 is great.
8 is great. And I don't think it was great.
Probably not great.
What's
Crouching Tiger, Full Metal Jacket?
Good. It was good. I feel like 6 for visuals, 7 for sound.
Yeah, you know what? And Full Metal Jacket had a similar sort of.
It was fine.
No, it was better than fine. It was all right.
It was good.
It was all right.
What did we give it?
No, it was all right, but with an upward inflection. That's how you do it.
It was all right.
It wasn't all right.
It was all right.
It was all right.
Oh my God, there's so many different all right.
You've got. It was fine.
It was all right.
It was fine.
It was all right.
It was all right.
It was all right. Oh yeah. I've got a boner.
He's going to be all right. Get this literal doctor out of here.
Okay, great. I like that. 7.
Genre realization. Now, this is one, Jambo, which we have been calling out for. All right, you say the
final critical score.
Yeah.
Genre realization. Neither of us have ever really understood this one, but it's something like, how does it compare against the rest of its genre? We have 2 minutes to agree on a rating out of 10. Go.
We've been waiting for one like this, Jambo. We've been waiting for a comedy.
Okay.
So Jambo we've had a lot of issues wondering what this category is.
Yep.
The realization of a genre. What does it mean? At the moment, we'd probably say we're settled on, as you mentioned, how does it compare within its genre?
Yeah.
We have difficulties working out what genre of film is.
What was Jaws?
Is it a shark horror?
It was a shark horror.
Is it a spinny head
Pot boiler.
pot boiler? Is it a romp-tastic romp? Who knows? Sometimes genres are they're cages that films don't fall into. One of the things you said when we were trying to work out what genre realization was at one point was, okay, if it is a comedy, how much did it make me laugh?
Okay.
If it is a horror, how scared was I by it?
Yeah.
We discovered that became very difficult because things didn't have genre.
Even horror.
Horror, was it?
It was
scared?
more like being disturbed.
You
We
wanna be
sort of
disturbed.
decided, and it was more scared. Was like thriller.
Is a comedy supposed to be something that you laugh out loud at, or is it funny situations which are memorable? Well, for this one, we finally got that perfect. We know what the genre is. We know what it's trying to do. It's trying to make you laugh.
It's not a shark horror.
But obviously, all the stuff that we've recently been reviewing has been based around how much does it fit within its category. So I think maybe...
Yeah, we're not rating it based on how well do we know the genre. 10 out of 10, I know exactly what genre it is.
So by your former definition, what would you give this? So it's a comedy. How funny do you find it?
Oh, you know what? Actually, probably like a 7 or an 8.
Okay.
I've laughed a lot harder at films, like a lot harder.
Yeah, okay. All right, so if we're going, how much does it define the genre of comedy?
But I reckon this is more of a coming of age comedy. It's like you'd want to be a little more specific.
Yeah, if we were saying comedy, it's probably like an 8.
Yeah.
If it was coming of age,
okay,
probably like a 10.
So
coming of age comedy.
I feel
9
like
or
if we
10.
gave Jaws shark horror, we have to give this one coming of age
Jaws
comedy.
10. Jaws a 10 for shark horror.
Yeah, of course it got a
All
10 for shark horror.
Super bad.
Name another shark horror. Jaws 2.
Sharknado?
Jaws 3.
yeah. All right, I think then coming of age comedy, how much does it realise the genre? For this generation?
Nice.
For this generation, I think it's a 10, but an all time, maybe it's a 9. Some of those John, I can't remember his name, but anyway, some 80s coming of age films were pretty,
Were they? I don't know.
pretty,
Unsurprisingly. You might have to check out a few because I don't like these films. So maybe I'll find one.
All right,
Okay, I think 9.
let's go 9.
All right.
10.
Right, so we know what our average score is. Oh my goodness, it's coming very close to Full Metal Jacket. Okay, so the Mate Night podcast has now rated Superbad in 9 different categories out of 10 using the Mate Night system. We have ranked it the following. Fred's enjoyment of Superbad out of 10, 8.2. Jambo's enjoyment, 7.5. Plot, 5. Character, 7. Dialogue, 10. Performance, 10. Visual, 6. Sound, 7. Genre realization, 9, which gives it an average score of 7.74 out of 10, which makes it the 10th greatest film of all time until further notice.
Nice. Very nice.
It is sat just behind
Top 10.
2001 Space Odyssey and just ahead of Casablanca.
Wow, what a trio that is.
You know what as well? Like I always thought like 7s, I want them to be good scores. And
yeah,
Superbad, Casablanca, and Space Odyssey all being 7.7s. That makes sense to me. You know, they're good films, and that's kind of what I want the 7.7s to be, the high 7s.
Superbad, a top 10 film of all time until further notice. That is pretty good going. It's a good film.
We've only rated 20 films.
We managed to do 20 now.
No, this is 19. Sorry.
19. That's good.
Film 20 coming up.
And we're talking, to be fair, like you may think, okay, if you look at it like that, you'd say it's halfway between all films of all time, but we're skewed here towards some real classics.
We've watched some great films.
Some real heavy hitters, so it'll be good to get some bad ones coming up soon as well.
Thank you for listening, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you for listening, Rachel.
Thanks, Rachel.
Yep, thank you. Thanks for listening, Lavender.
Lavender, hope you're doing well, Lavender. She's under the bed.
This is the May Night Podcast. Over and out.